Okay, so today we're going to really focus on just one thing, and that's Falcon and the Winter Soldier as the series as a whole. We'll go into spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, which, if you haven't, I don't really think you care that much about it. But first, we're going to mention a couple of things. First, we are now on YouTube doing a new series where we basically talk about the daily news in under 2 minutes, try to keep it between 1 and 1.5 minutes. Called Headlines in a Hurry, and that launches today, Wednesday at noon. So if you go on YouTube, check that out. That'll be there. And then tomorrow on Thursday, the Disney Cruise Line is making an announcement about its newest ship, the Disney Wish. And that'll be at 11 a.m. And then I will record something afterwards talking about that. So keep an eye out for that. And also, there's this event that has been going on for a while by Orlando Informer, and they do this thing where they rent out the Universal parks in Orlando and have a meetup, and I just wanted to throw it out there. I will be there on December 4th. If anyone is going to attend, feel free to say hello if you see me there, but I'm looking forward to that. And then there's two quick things I want to talk about in general. Recently, Godzilla vs. Kong came out in theaters and on HBO Max, and it did pretty well. It did better than even the last film in the series, which was surprising considering we're in a pandemic. The film was available for free on HBO Max and limited theater capacity, but either way, it still made about almost $500 million so far, and so it's not really a surprise that there is a sequel coming up. Supposedly, the working title is Son of Kong, so I guess it is about Kong and his son. It'll be directed by the same director that directed Godzilla vs. Kong, Adam Wingard, and he did a pretty good job with that film, I thought. What did you think about Godzilla vs. Kong?
I enjoyed it. It was a very enjoyable film. It had a good build up. It had a good the fight didn't came towards maybe towards the end. It had a climax. It had a beginning. It's just, I feel like they took their time with it, so I was really impressed.
It also wasn't too long either, which was nice. It was right. It was at a good, had a good balance, I thought. And compared to Batman vs. Superman, they fought several times throughout the film, which I thought helped it. And then, of course, the other things went on. But I actually really enjoyed it. I hadn't enjoyed a lot of the previous films in the MonsterVerse, so I was kind of surprised that I liked it. But I'm looking forward to the next installment, especially if the same people are involved. So,
me too, dude. As
we learn more, we'll keep you all updated on that. And actually, let's go ahead and get started talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier. This last week, the finale came out this past Friday. And so I figure I'll mention some small things from each episode that stuck out to me, and then we can just talk about it as a whole. So there were 6 episodes. Each were around an hour long. I'll be honest, overall, I thought the first 2 or 3 episodes were just okay, but then I thought episodes 4, 5, and 6 were really good. I'll just tell you what stuck out to me from each episode, and then I'll ask you your opinions on them. In episode 1, I thought from the get-go, the thing we would see again, which we did, is the man that Bucky was talking to at the beginning of the series in episode 1, that he killed his child. I thought that would come into play, as did everyone else. And I thought it was a good thing they delivered on that, because otherwise the episode really, to me, a lot of that didn't get referenced again. And the one thing about episode 1, I just kind of thought episode 1 was kind of slow. It had the fight at the beginning, but it was kind of out of nowhere, and I don't know. That was probably the weakest episode of the series to me. In episode 2, it was the funniest episode.
I agree, but yeah.
Was that episode 1? Yeah.
Yeah. And sorry, go on.
Episode 2, though, I liked more because it was funny, but also the more I went back and looked at it, it was funny, but that was a huge tone shift from the first one. So I felt it kind of suffered from that. But then I thought it would be fine if we kept on with that. But from there, the show really went back to being more dramatic. So it was really only a comedic show in episode 2, in my opinion. So it just kind of seemed weird to me. But episode 2 was better than 1, in my opinion. And then episode 3, that's when we finally got Zemo, and we finally saw Sharon Carter again. And it started to pick up for me there, but it still wasn't quite there for me. But in episode 4, when we saw John Walker kill the person at the end, that cliffhanger, that was actually, I thought, one of the best scenes they've had in a Marvel show so far. So that started to really sell the series for me. And then episode 5, who would have thought that watching 2 superheroes fix a boat would be fun? But I enjoyed that episode. And then, of course, episode 6 had a lot going on, and we can talk about episode 6 in a second. But what were your thoughts on the first few, and do you mostly agree or do you disagree with some of the stuff?
I thought episode 1 was slow. Like, the first 2 episodes were slow. On just about until the 3rd episode, things were starting to pick up. And episode 4, like, oh my god, like, I mean, I know the trailer kind of spoiled it for me a little bit of what characters they brought and what characters return in this new series. But and then I feel like the last episode was probably one of my favorites. It was good. I felt like got me excited to, it's open up new bridges to Captain America 4.
Yeah, for me, my favorites were 4 and 6. 4, 5, and 6 were the best, but I think number 1 for me was episode 4. And then 6 was number 2.
Episode 6 was great.
Yeah, let's talk a bit about episode 6. I have some things written down we can discuss, but first of all, he's obviously Falcon's now Captain America. Sam is now Captain America. I guess first of all, did you expect it? And second, did you want that to be what they did, or did you hope they went with a different direction?
I'm gonna be honest. It was, I feel like it wasn't surprising for me. Just because, of the title Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
And it had, kind of gave, the, the whole, introduce, the brand of it, that, of course, it's leading up that he's Captain America, but it's just showing what, it's showing his outcomes. It's showing a lot of possible, for Sam, it's do I really want to be this? But, it's because Steve, gave him the
shield.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, I thought it was really obvious that's where it was heading the whole time. And I kind of accepted that back at the end of Endgame. But the one thing about that for me is that, they've said all this time, these Disney Plus series, you'll have to see them to see the movies. But with Captain America 4, which we'll talk about in a minute, really, you don't need to see this show to see Captain America 4, because this show ends the same as it began, or the same as Endgame ended, where he was given the shield to be Captain America. So anyone that hasn't seen the show can just be like, oh yeah, that happened in Endgame. So that was, I guess, one thing that kind of was strange to me, if they really want to integrate the two. And who knows, maybe what happened in this show will be part of the plot of Captain America 4. But a lot of it felt like it was like, why do we need to see this? But for example, a couple of the important things we got from this show was John Walker and Sharon Carter. John Walker, he was a very unlikable character, but the way he was portrayed was really good. So I really liked his character a lot. Especially as the series progressed, I thought he got to be a better character. And then, of course, Sharon Carter, the whole time, we were just kind of like, what the heck is going on with her? Because in episode 5, she called the person and was like, oh, yeah, can you come help these people out? But, of course, he was the one that was out to get Falcon. So a lot of people were confused by that. But, of course, it was revealed she was the power broker. Then we get that credit scene. And I think she'll probably be important to Captain America 4 or season 2, whichever we get. Did you see the Sharon Carter twist coming or no?
I thought it was like, okay, that was cool. I mean, it was kind of like unexpected, I'll admit.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
And I think a lot of people also just didn't really care about that character very much, so at least I didn't before this series all that much because we've never seen much of her, so for a lot of people, that being the big reveal kind of wasn't anything huge. And then, of course, we have Bucky. His future, it seems like he's still healing from his past, which, again, is where he started at the beginning of the show. He's a little further along, which is good, but I found it interesting. He's still being called the Winter Soldier and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like in the credits, it said at the end, Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which I guess that's what they're going to call season 2, although that's the name of a movie already, so I don't know how that'll work.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I think he needs to have a little more progression, and I feel like if they're doing a season 2 of this show, I kind of think season 1 was more about Falcon. I think season 2 will probably be more about Bucky if they do a season 2. And so we'll see what happens next with him.
I could see that, or I could see like a mini series of, Bucky.
Yeah.
Like the Winter Soldier.
Well, when they submitted WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier to like the awards for the year for the Emmys, they put WandaVision as a one-time series, and they put Falcon and Winter Soldier as like an ongoing series. So I guess they do plan a season 2. They haven't announced it, but I can definitely see season 2 or 3 or 4 coming out of this show because it's really just about those two characters, and you can pretty much do anything with them. So I thought personally the best part of this whole series, though, wasn't the action was really good. I didn't think it was that, nor that I think it was a storyline because I kind of thought the storyline was a little weak. I thought the best part, though, was the relationship between Sam and Bucky, as it kind of promised in the trailers. And that's what I thought made episode 5 so good because, like, the boat scene and stuff, that's all that was, really. And I thought that was one of the best parts of the series. What do you think about that?
Like, I'll admit that, like, it really kind of, like, established and they built well with their, like, friendship and all that stuff, or, like, between their, it's like they're, it's like kind of like Bucky, like, I can imagine that he kind of like, he doesn't, because, throughout the years, he always knew Steve as his, like, best friend, like, always partner in crime, but, and now it's like, he's kind of mentoring Sam in a way, and Sam's like, getting the hang of it, everything, so it's like.
Well, speaking of Steve, a lot of people were disappointed he didn't show up, but I feel like that's a good thing, because the whole show is about moving on. So if he had showed up, I think maybe it would have kind of ruined it.
But I don't know.
I think he will eventually. But
because
what were you gonna say?
Because then, what's the whole point? Because like he gave the shield unless he comes back. I need that shield back.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, unless like, okay, like I feel like we could maybe see like an old Steve, like sometime at some point, maybe a cameo appearance one day in the future.
I still think if we see him, I still think it'll be with like Doctor Strange and stuff, like in the multiverse.
Yeah, like multiverse. Yeah.
I would hope they don't bring him back in the regular universe.
You never know. Maybe No Way Home or Tony Stark.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought after WandaVision, it was an interesting change.
Oh yeah.
I think personally it suffered from coming out after WandaVision. If they had kept it how originally was going to be, where this was going to be first and then WandaVision, I don't think it would have been compared as much as it was.
By far. No, it's like WandaVision, I feel like it's probably like my favorite so far.
Mm-hmm.
Besides Falcon. I mean, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was cool. I would probably give it like an 8 out of 10. But WandaVision would be a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I was actually just about to ask how you'd rank the shows so far on Disney Plus. For me, I would say as far as like the big budget shows Disney Plus has done, I would rank it number 1 is WandaVision, 2 is Falcon, 3 is Mandalorian Season 2, and then 4th is Mandalorian Season 1. Where would you put all those?
Mandalorian 1, WandaVision 2, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier 3rd.
Yeah, I think for me it's just because I'm more of a Marvel fan in general, so those will probably always rank higher for me, just because I'm more interested in those. But all of them have been really, really good so far.
I'm really excited for Hawkeye, though.
Yeah, coming up though is Hawkeye. I was going to talk about that in a minute. Coming up, we have Hawkeye later this year, like December probably.
Black Widow coming out too, that movie.
Black Widow in July, Loki in June, and then What If over the summer at some point.
Oh, you covered about Spider-Man films coming to Disney Plus, right?
No, not yet, but we can talk about that now.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of complicated because just a couple weeks ago, Netflix signed a deal with Sony to get their films like straight out of theaters into Netflix. And so Disney just signed a deal about the Spider-Man films and some other some other films from Sony coming there once the Netflix deal is over. But the whole thing is eventually the Spider-Man films will be on Disney Plus, which will make the whole MCU complete, minus the Incredible Hulk, but that's fine. That movie kind of sucks. So that'll be great, and that'll even elevate Disney Plus further. And it's smart to me because Sony doesn't need to make their own streaming service. They should just make money by licensing their stuff out. I think it's a smart choice.
I agree.
But Falcon and Winter Soldier, I thought it was a good show. It wasn't the best to me. I think if they do a season 2, it'll be better. And I want to see these start to really be something you need to see. Like WandaVision was amazing, but I don't know yet. I mean, we don't know yet, but I don't know if you needed to see that to see other films, you know? But so far they've been great. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next. And Loki and What If, Black Widow, Hawkeye, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, all these things. So many great series coming out. It's a great time to be a Marvel fan, which is great because last year we didn't have anything. So it's great to be back to having a lot of Marvel. Do you have any last thoughts on Falcon and Winter Soldier?
And I think I said this before, 8.5, 8. Yeah, you know what? I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's, it's solid. Some interesting, like build-ups. It leads expectation pretty well. Like of what I feel like they're trying, like the objective for Sam and Bucky.
Yeah, I'd probably put it around 8 as well. Just because I thought the first 3 were pretty slow. That's a lot of episodes to be slow for a 6-episode series, but
right.
But overall, I thought it was pretty
good.
I thought it paid off. So overall, I enjoyed it. And I look forward to talking about Loki and the rest as those come out. Thank you all for tuning in today to this episode of Relive the Magic. We'll see you next week, and you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube to keep up to date with everything going on. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.